Confronted, a report on white Americans in the North who are personally confronted with the Negro in revolt. Your reporter is George Page.
Throughout the North, the white American is confronted with Negro Americans demanding freedom now. As you will see, he's confronted in Chicago, in St. Louis, in Fallcroft near Philadelphia, and in the New York suburb of Malvern. And the white man is confronted here in New York City's borough of Queens. This is the construction site of a huge $96 million apartment complex and a continuing demonstration against alleged discrimination by construction unions. The unions deny discrimination. The Negroes say of 2,000 workers on the project, only 150 are Negro.
Must go. Another white union. Must go. Jim Crow. Must go. Jim Crow. Must go. Jim Crow. Must go.
We're all the same thing here. And the main issue here, of course, is a continuing struggle against construction unions, you know?
Truthfully, they want more freedom, I guess, you know, and more advantages, stuff like that. But they shouldn't show it in this way, I don't think. It makes them look stupid. It's just a waste of time, I think. Because instead of people thinking they're equal or people starting to like them, I think more people hate them. So I think they're acting like animals.
Oh, ho, what do you know? Jim Crow must go.
Ho, ho, what do you know?
Jim Crow must go. Oh, ho, what do you know? Jim Crow must go.
Ho, ho, what do you know?
I'm just wondering whether it's a case of wearing out your welcome.
We'll be out here until the snow falls. We're going to stay here until something gives. Something has to give somewhere.
I only got a few more years to live, and I want everybody else to live up in the mountains and hibernate.
Would you mind one way or the other?
Not a way.
Neither way.
Neither way. Okay, what?
What do you think about the demonstration then?
I think they're nuts.
Jim Crow must go. White union. White union. Must go. White union. Must go. White union. Must go. White union. Must go. White union. White union. Must go. Jim Crow. Must go. Must go. White union.
Actually, they want to become president, every one of them. And they don't want to work their way up. They want to start at the top. A lot of them.
It took years for us to get the conditions we have today. And then we have somebody to come over there and say, just push you on the side. He says, well, we want to take your place. You just get the hell out.
Everybody has a right to work, because I'm looking to get out of the trade myself, you know. Not that glamorous a business. And it's a lot of hard work, and it's not so easy, but they got a right to live. They can come on in.
If they come in the way we all came in through the apprentice training program, then I believe it's all right.
Do you think this kind of demonstration is effective?
No. I think the leaders are taking advantage of it.
Where are you from?
Louisiana.
What do you think about it?
That's enough said, isn't it?
Is it?
No, from Louisiana.
You
don't care to comment anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Must go. Must go. Lily White Union. Must go. Lily White Union. Must go.
We count cars here from North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and just stand here while they come through. You have out-of-state workers in this place where a Negro can't get a job.
What the woman can do here? The woman can do a hard work. The woman can do a hard work.
I'll tell you one thing, as far as the picketing is concerned, they seem to be able to, they are getting a few little results.
They say we've been holding them down a long time, but gee whiz, I never even thought about it. You know, like, who had time to worry about them? I was struggling myself. You know, it's been tough for outside too, but it's hard work. It's not so easy. And I don't think the average guy feels that, you know, he wants to hold them down or anything. Like, I'm local 28 sheet metal workers. I don't think fellas in my union are prejudiced. I think anybody really prejudiced.
You think the demonstrations are a good way for them to get into the union?
Well, it's the only way. We pick it too. I mean, we pick it when we want something, so it's only fair that they should pick it. Of course, lying in front of a truck, I think they did that back in 30s, so I really can't say too much about it, you know. We had our trouble too in Flint, Michigan. But, you know, everybody gets hot on the collar. If I come to you and say, I want you a job, well, you're going to get a little annoyed too, in other words. But they just want a percentage. They want to work like anybody else. I hold nothing against them. I feel most of the fellas feel the same way. We're a different stock today. We're not from the old school way, you know, hooray for me and the heck with you. We're more or less, come on, give everybody an equal chance. You know, I feel that way, my wife feels that way. I'm raising my kid that way. Well, I gotta go home. We shall not be moved like me. Just say about more. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved like a stream. You proclaim by the water. We shall not be moved.
The train from Manhattan to Malvern, Long Island, a typical commuter train town. "11,000 prosperous suburbanites live here, including a fast-growing number of Negroes. Until recently, none of Malvern's whites would have thought a controversy involving race was possible in their town. And then a new term, de facto segregation, took on real meaning in Malvern.
I think that the Negroes in the North have been more often wrong than right. And I think the Negroes in the South have rarely been wrong.
Al Hirschman is a retired Malvern businessman. A controversial order came down from the state school commissioner, and Hirschman spearheaded a movement to fight it, in the courts and with pressure. The order, a plan must be adopted to end racial imbalance in the town's 3 elementary schools. One school is 80% Negro, the remaining 2, 80% white. Most of Malvern's Negroes live in a pleasant section called Lakeview.
There are no Negroes living in the Malvern or the Lynbrook parts of the school district. When you, by choice, live in a community which is largely Negro or largely white, when you, by your own choice, do that, even though the choice is dictated with pressures such as difficulty in moving into another community, still it's by choice, there's no harm done. We're now going to go to Lakeview.
And all the children in the district come to the junior and senior highs,
yes,
is that right?
All of them, yeah.
And in Lakeview, the population is primarily Negro, is that correct?
No, 50% Negro.
But the population of the school, the Lakeview school is 80% Negro.
It will be this year. And almost all of these newer homes were taken up by Negro residents. Some of them have Cadillacs in front of them, the middle class. And incidentally, it's mostly these newer residents and the well-to-do people in them who are causing the difficulties here. They came here to reform the place. The facts do remain that Negroes' children do not perform as well in schools as white children. Now, you can ascribe whatever reasons you want, and they're arguable. But the statement I just made is not arguable because it's a matter of fact. The strength of the Negro race do not lie in the field of academic achievement as a group. Again, making this generalization which doesn't apply to individuals. And
where then is its strength?
In the fields of emotion, in arts, in music, and things.
If you lose the suit, if you lose the court case, what will happen?
Then I think Malvern School District 12 will become a totally Negro community.
Why?
Because I think the whites will get out and the Negroes will come in. If the conduct of the Negroes in the of the North foreshadows what the Negroes of the South will want after they get an even break, then I say it's too bad for the country.
Hirschman is called the father of the Taxpayers and Parents Association, TAP, called TAP. TAP obtained a court order stopping the state commissioner's plan from going into effect, and a group went to Albany to picket the commissioner's house.
We all went up to Albany. We picketed at Albany, and I want to say one very interesting fact came out of this trip. Since that time, we found that there are a lot of housewives in this community who would rather picket than do housework. And we've had a real problem keeping them home in the homes.
This group proposed the TAP Freedom Plan, which would allow any parent, Negro or white, to send his child to either of Malvern's 3 grammar schools.
Each and every individual should have the right to decide for themselves which of the 3 elementary schools they feel is the most desirable for their children to attend. And they, and only they, should be able to make this decision.
The only thing I'm saying is I'm more interested in seeing what is to be offered as a solution to the problem.
I do mind the travel.
What did you have against the traveling?
The traveling? I don't drive. I have 3 little children.
No matter which way the decision goes, it is still going to leave the same problem. The decision is not going to be acceptable to one or another faction. Just a minute, let me finish. Sure.
Some people who are in favor of the Princeton plan have made it known that it's it would be 3/4 of a mile away, but that isn't so because we've clocked it directly from our door to the school, and it's 1 3/4 miles.
Under the Princeton plan, all Malvern children of a particular age group, both Negro and white, would be assigned to one school. One school building would be reserved for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders only. Its sponsors say the Princeton plan would prevent any one school from being more than 50% Negro.
But they would actually have to go double the distance to that school if the Princeton plan went through.
They said your children in particular would have to...
Yes, my 4th grader would have to go because they would have 4th and 5th grade in there. And every 3 years, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd would be in this school. 4th and 5th would be in this school. 6th, 7th, and 8th would be in this school, and high school is here. So they would have to go to 4 different schools. In that time, and you know, during their school career. And I think that that's too many times to change. But they would have to go so far away just to balance the races. And I don't think that's good for them. That's another reason I don't like the Princeton plan.
If this plan were put into effect for the reasons that they want to put it into effect, this would definitely take away everybody's rights in this one small area as far as education goes. And then the next step is going to be telling people where they can live, housing, so on and so forth. It's got to come to that because if the state education department is going to try to control racial balance in the schools by destroying the neighborhood schools, and if people all move out of a neighborhood and let's say it becomes an all-white neighborhood and Rockville Center becomes an all-Negro neighborhood, what are they going to do then? Merge school districts? And then the next step, when the people move again, if people move again and change where they change the neighborhoods again, and then the next step is going to be to tell you, well, you can't move anymore. You have to stay there or you'll upset the racial balance.
The real problem is the hysteria on the part of parents, you know, who I think, 1, are really disappointed because the kids, they'd like them to be nearby, and 2, I think because there are a lot of feelings that go below the surface that maybe a lot of people aren't willing to recognize in themselves.
Rabbi Samuel Cheel thinks something should be done to balance the races in Malvern schools.
Possible to get both sides together. We're currently working on this. Now, you see, it seems to me that in the North, nobody's against integration. Everybody's for integration, but not now, not here. Maybe, you know, in next town, next century, but not here. And so it seems to me that this is really a part of a strategy. The strategy is that you just can't say we're segregationists, because only Governor Wallace can say that, you know. But this can't be said in the North. Everybody's for integration. And I don't really think that they're bigots, but I think we all have a lot of problems and prejudice that we're not willing to face. One can attempt to defer the solution to this problem by simply saying it's a housing situation, it's a sociological problem, it's not a school problem. That's not facing the issue. In Malvern, it happens to be focusing on the schools. This is the place to start working on it. It's got to be broken somewhere. You just can't choose the place that you're going to start solving this problem.
The Jefferson Bank, St. Louis, Missouri. Executive Vice President Joe McConnell is confronted.
On the afternoon of August the 28th, 1963, which was the deadline set by the Corps organization for our hiring poor Negroes, two of the representatives of Corps called at our bank and asked what we had intended to do. And I told them at that time that our position was clearly stated, that we would continue to follow a policy of non-discrimination in hiring of any of all of our employees on a qualification basis if a need existed. And they said, then you're not going to hire 4 people by today. And we definitely said we would not do that. They said, well, then, if we would call off this demonstration, would you, on a preferential basis, hire 4 Negroes within the next 6 months? And I explained then that that is exactly what they were preaching against. That would be discrimination against the white employee, and we would certainly not agree to that.
The Congress of Racial Equality says the bank's practice contradicts its policy. Corps says it's been 7 years since Jefferson Bank hired a Negro, and points out there are 80 white and 2 Negro employees.
Into the bank or onto bank property will be subject to immediate arrest.
They ticketed for an hour, and then they blocked our doors, and then they entered our bank, singing, chanting, clapping, and obstructing our business. We were absolutely unable to do any business at the time. In spite of our statements to them that we would continue a non-discriminatory hiring policy. One of our most trusted employees, a colored boy who's been with us, I think, close on to 15 years. Started as a paper boy on the corner of Jefferson and Franklin Avenue. We put him to work as a porter, then as a bank messenger, and finally, 5 or 6 years ago, as a statement teller, Dave, I want you to meet Mr. Page.
Hello, how are you?
I've been telling Mr. Page that you've been with us for, what, 15 years or 13 years?
13 years.
Have they been pleasant years, Dave?
Very pleasant.
Well, that's what I was telling Mr. Page, and I was also telling him how you felt about the demonstrations here at the bank.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel?
Well, I think they made a stupid move. I think they were wrong in the way they came in. You don't demand anything. You should ask people and negotiate with them. That's the way I feel about it. And I think if they had came in the right manner and through due process, they would be given every consideration. But they didn't come that way. They came in with demands.
That's right. And they came in and told us how many we had to hire by a given date, and that's what we presented.
That's right.
Regardless of what our needs were, regardless of what their qualifications were. Just to tell you, Mr. Page, I just love to have more people like you in this bank. And maybe as a result of the publicity given this thing, we'll be able to accomplish that someday.
Well, I hope so, Mr. McCown.
Well, I hope so too, Dave.
Thank you. Glad to mention it.
Likewise, sir.
We'd just love to have more people of his integrity employed by our bank. We don't think of him as a colored man. We think of him as one of our people, and all of the people in the bank feel the same way. And that's why we've been so desirous of having qualified Negroes apply here. We know that they have ability if they have had the proper training. We know that they're entitled to equal opportunity. We don't think they're entitled to preferential treatment. And certainly we're not, that would be discriminatory in itself to give preferential treatment to any group as distinguished from another group. Our position is clear. We intend to follow it. We don't think we're the first bank picked out, but we think that we're the first bank in St. Louis who stood up for the rights granted all of us, whether we're bankers or garagemen, to run our own businesses on a basis of opportunity, qualification, and need. That is our position. And we will continue to follow that position, regardless of threats, of intimidation, and coercion, and everything else that's been applied.
Negro jazz trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie staged a one-man sit-in at this barber shop in Chicago's Loop. He sat for 6 hours without service, got his hair cut the next day after a man from the Human Relations Commission called on the owner.
What about the problem of Negroes who come into your barbershop or to any barbershop? What's the main problem with that, Mr. Perot?
Well, that's the problem, that a lot of us don't know how to cut their hair. It's very hard because we're not used to cutting that type of hair. As I was saying, when I went to barber college, we used to have about 17, 18 barbers there, and they had 3 color barbers. Mm-hmm. And every time a color man come in, why, they would give to them. So therefore, we have no opportunity to cut these people's hair. Their hair is strictly all by clipper, and I can't use clippers.
What happened when Gillespie came in here?
Well, I didn't know how to cut his hair. He'd take an awful chance of getting a haircut off of me. But not only that, but if a color man comes in to get a haircut by us, it hurts all these color barber shops. They got a lot of good barber shops in the city of Chicago. I mean, real good, better class than mine.
Was Gillespie the first colored man who had ever come in? Did you know who he was?
No, I didn't.
What do you think of a public accommodations bill, a law that would insist that you had to do this, that you had to cut anybody's hair regardless of their race?
Well, I would get, because the situation, I wouldn't know how to cut it. I think I would quit the barber business.
You mean you'd get out of business?
That's right.
Whites march on Chicago's City Hall, opposing an open occupancy bill under consideration by the City Council. The marchers want a statewide referendum on the question, but the bill passes anyway and makes it illegal for real estate brokers to discriminate in the sale or rental of housing. The march was organized by Howard Skaman, the 31-year-old chairman of the Property Owners Coordinating Committee. The committee is made up of representatives from neighborhood organizations throughout Chicago.
I can't see how they can pass something like this when the state voted against it.
Well, they won't be able to after we get through with them.
Well, gee, that's a relief.
Okay,
but
sir.
It's good to know that somebody's still fighting for the white people. Because, gee, they're stepping all over us. I have to work with them downtown, and brother...
Skaman is becoming a familiar public figure in Chicago. There's even talk of running him for Congress.
I'll go to anyone, within a week.
Within a week, yes, sir.
All right, I'll get a few circulating. I'll get them signed, but plenty of guys. All the employees that I talk with, white ones, I mean, they're against it. But what they say to me is, what can we do about it? Nobody's doing anything about it.
We're getting something done now.
That's what I like to hear. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you for calling. Goodbye now.
Bye.
apartment buildings that he owns on either side here.
Skaman says he's against open occupancy laws on constitutional grounds, but he frankly admits no Negroes are wanted in South Lawndale.
Well, why basically, though, do these people not want the Negroes to come in?
Well, it's not a fear of Negroes per se. It's a definite fear of anyone who would run down their neighborhood. Home is probably the most important thing to people of this basic ethnic background. These are primarily Bohemian, Polish people. People who have a great deal of pride in their homes. All you have to do is look at what we're coming up to here ahead of us is, while it's not typical of the community, it's certainly not the exception to the rule. Here's a man who has a parking lot. Check that over there. There's a group of the boys who are off work this afternoon.
Okay. 1 20, 4 20, 8 20, 9 20, 0. No jo. Máme 37. 37 máme. Jo. Akorát jsme to vyhráli.
Mr. Chairman?
Pošli zpátky pro skíze.
We have, these gentlemen are out from Boston, and they're here filming a report in Chicago. Basically, they're trying to understand why we don't want colored people to move into this neighborhood.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
No, sure. I don't want them here either. They are clean and you know what they do all the time. And we don't want, as long as we can hold it, so we hold it without them. They passed that law that you have to take colored people, huh?
It's not passed yet.
But
we're still fighting them.
That wouldn't do them any good anyway. Because if colored people come, then I can say $150 for the flat. Then he wouldn't take it.
So the law doesn't mean
So the law don't stop us. That's why people don't put no more flats for them. They could have put it. Yeah, if colored people come, they can say it's gone because he got a ticket in the window, but he gets $150. So what they gonna do? They kind of walk away. Yeah.
They go to restaurants out here, nobody bothers them.
Yeah.
As far as that. But I don't believe that they should, you have the right to.
No, sure.
You got the
As long
property
as we
here
can
for
keep
45
it,
years,
so
and
we
they
keep
should
it.
sell it or rent it to who you please and not to what they tell you to rent it.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you very, very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it a lot.
Welcome.
Don't mention it. It's all right.
I'll be back with the Daily News to take
Okay,
pictures
all right.
in a few weeks.
Thanks.
Well, let's go and take a look at the adjacent neighborhood.
All right.
Where you take them in for? What you do with it?
This is what our community doesn't want to happen.
Well, you can go almost anywhere and find run-down neighborhoods like this one. But why would it be necessarily true that a neighborhood would be run down just because Negroes moved in?
This isn't true at all. You take our Chatham section here, which is one of the very finest residential areas in the city, almost exclusively Negro, maintained, really kept up. It's a very, very desirable community to live in. My point is, these are our immediate neighbors here. And this is why you find so much resistance, not only in our community, but in all the immediate marginal areas to this community and others such as Woodlawn.
In other words, your people feel that this is what would happen to their neighborhood.
This is what would happen to their neighborhood.
You feel that way too?
I know it would. If you think on the northwest side of the city of Chicago that you are going to be living in an all-white community indefinitely, you're mistaken.
you are eventually going to live in an either integrated or inundated community. Now, I really envy you out here in the northwest side of the city of Chicago because you are very, very far removed from the real problems that exist. You don't have slums within a block or two of you. But if open occupancy bills are passed in the city of Chicago, it will directly affect you. We feel that if this bill is permitted to be enforced, it will cause a mass exodus of the people who can afford to move from Chicago into the suburbs where they think they're protected. We feel that Chicago will become a mecca for all, let's face it, Negro immigrants from all over the entire country. It's very easy to get on the relief rolls here. Now, there are reasons for opposing open occupancy legislation on constitutional grounds. There is no one, or no legislative body, or no government, which has the right to tell you who you should sell or rent your property to. The Supreme Court has not ruled on it, and they refuse to do so. Might be nice if we had a Supreme Court of our own for a change.
How do you feel about the clergy of Chicago? Well, I mean, telling us that it's more or less our moral obligation to accept integration and stuff. I mean,
they all take the same moral position, that social justice and equality for all people is the right thing to do. I believe in this. I support it, and I'm sure you do. But anytime the Catholic Church or whatever faith they belong to tells me I'm supposed to vote for bill number so-and-so, I'm going to tell them just where to go.
Why do they want to go into a white neighborhood?
They don't.
I mean, the city of Chicago builds them beautiful housing.
Have you ever been in it, man?
No, I haven't been, but before they occupy it, they are beautiful.
It's going to come eventually. I'd say in 200 years, we're all going to be of one race.
One race.
And after all, the white people are a majority, not a minority. This we know.
I mean, I wouldn't say whether I was or I am or against or for something of this sort.
I'm not, like I say, I'm not against any color that's, they have a right to education, but as far as our rights, we should have a right to sell it wherever we want.
Would you want to live next door to a Negro?
No.
The Chicago Real Estate Board is fully backing Skaman's fight and published a leaflet called Forced Housing. The board's president is Percy E. Wegner.
Well, in general, how do you feel about any legislation aimed at the broker that has the objective of open occupancy?
We think that it is illegal, that you have no right to enact a law which has to do with the human rights and the property rights of individuals, and that it's a violation of both the 13th and the 14th Amendment, the Constitution and the Illinois Constitution. You purchase a property because you desire to live in a certain place, and you have therefore also the right to sell and to rent. That's a fundamental human right as well as a property right. And you take that away from a person, you are taking away from him his constitutional rights. I don't ask people to my house, in my home, on my property, that are not acceptable to me. Neither does anyone else. Many white men I wouldn't have step across my threshold. Right? Would you? Do you allow everybody to come in your house? That's all there's to it. Do Negroes come into my house? Do Chinese come into my house? Do I entertain them in my house? Yes. At my choosing. See, the same as they accept me in their home. Don't forget that in Chicago, the International Real Estate Federation had a convention here in June in which we had 348 members of the Real Estate Federation of all races, all creeds, joined together in convention. And next year, we're going to Israel, see. The solution to a problem of this type lies in education. Education in both races, both in the white race and the Negro race. Whether over the course of time there will be integration to the point of acceptance of all peoples by each other is something that I don't believe any man could foretell. People don't accept each other per se. You have your own friends. You have your own people that you choose to live with. We might even say that amongst our relatives we don't get along well together. So to expect that by law you can make a social change of this type is pretty far-seen and far-reaching.
There are 1,500 row houses in Delmar Village, a 7-year-old housing development in Fallcroft, Pennsylvania. Homes in this Philadelphia suburb sell for $10,000 to $11,000, and the people of Fallcroft call them their dream houses. Most of Fallcroft's residents work in the technical labor field. They make between $4,500 and $8,500 a year. They're proud of their community. Until recently, it was all white. Then, Horace Baker, his wife, and little girl moved in.
Hey, Chief. Hey. Okay.
It sort of just seems like a nightmare because you feel as though you were only trying to move into a home in which you'd purchased, and that you weren't trying in any way to interfere with anyone else's life or their property, but yet you were. And
they could have moved in 6 o'clock in the morning. They just got in there without anybody seeing them. But they waited till 5 o'clock at night. Early in the morning, they could have just snuck in there. Why didn't they do that?
The newspapers, the TV, the radio, they gave a false conception of what happened in Delmar Village. Tonight at 7:05 on WIBG, they had a program called World in Perspective, which was called Disgrace of Delmar Village. Now the people in this village and the people of Fallcroft do not feel that this is right. The newspapers, the television, and the radio have not seen our side of it.
I think they're getting paid to move in.
Hmm?
I think they're getting paid to move in.
any color that moves into this area, I'm sure, is only coming in here for one reason. That's to bust the neighborhood down, discourage the white person, stop the whites from moving into the area, and hope that it'll be converted to a Negro integrated development.
Aside from being forced integration, it's forced legislation.
Well, what I can't understand is that this is supposed to be a free country and great nation and whatnot, and yet you hear them say, oh, I'm afraid I won't say anything, I'll lose my job.
That's right. Hey, look,
This is no free
I work
country.
with 400 color people. And out of them 400 people, I mean, a lot of them have felt the same way I did. They thought they had a lot of guts moving out here.
Sure, I've heard lots of different colored people themselves say the same thing. That it wasn't right. Now something's wrong somewhere. Free country, and everybody's afraid to open their mouth, afraid they'll lose their job.
Well, they're afraid of the pressure of the NAACP because they exert the pressure on the employer, but the employer is afraid to buck them and say, well, I'll keep the man on. He takes the easy way out, the same as the big food stores, the government, and everybody else. They don't want to buck the tide, they so to speak.
But the only thing that really scares me is if the color did move in next door. My little girl grew up with the little boy next door, and she liked him. I mean, like, yeah, I don't understand the intermarriage. That's one thing that I don't like at all, and that's what I would be afraid of, because she grew up next door to him, and she liked him, and I know the majority, usually don't marry the boy next door. That doesn't usually happen, but if they grew up together and went to school together, and I think if they were mixed, I think that would be the next thing, that there would be a lot of that in a marriage. I don't see. That's the only thing that, but as far as them as people, and they're the same as me, I don't lower them in any way. There probably are a lot more of them that are better than me. That's the thing that bothers me on intermarriage. I don't like that.
Well, I can't see why that this Keller family, Negro family, moved down Delmar Village, where within 4 blocks away, they built a new house development, and they're still building it, that they couldn't move down there. And I can't see them moving down Delmar Village, where houses are anywhere between 5 and 10 years old, and trying to move in something old, and yet they can move in a new house. What are they trying to prove?
A lot of people in this world think that the Negro, I say Negro, has a place in this world. He does have a place in this world. The Negro does not want equality. He wants preference.
Who was it President Kennedy says in his inauguration address, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. What has the Negro race done for their country since 1960?
I don't know, but we've done a lot.
We have done an awful lot.
Well, they're pushing too hard. They're pushing the white people too hard. And something's got to be done. I don't know what, but we're going to maybe have to start right here in Fallcroft.
The newly appointed block captains of Delmar Village meet. Their purpose, to keep the people of the village informed and freeze out the bakers. No white in Fallcroft has spoken out in defense of the bakers. The block captains say they speak for all of Fallcroft's white residents.
Everything that's done here violently in Fallcroft is against the federal government. That's why our mayor had to go with the federal government. And I think everybody in this town understands that these people have the right to come into Fallcroft and live like first-class citizens. But to me, and I think to 90% of the white people, they haven't proved themselves. For instance, the Italian people, when they came to this country, I understand, they had Little Italy. The Germans, they had their towns. And they proved one thing to each other, that they could live with each other.
Unfortunately, these people came out here and gave everybody the impression that they were being pushed in by an outside organization, although it's been denied.
Anybody can deny anything.
I believe we brought up a point, though. When you purchased your house, how many times did you look at it?
A good 10 or 12 times, more than that.
Now,
Every week
I
we're
believe the
out there.
Bakers, I say the Bakers, looked at their house only once. I found out, and they visited their home once. If it was such a dream house, I'm sure, before the settlement time came around, they would have been inspecting the house more than
Well, I'd have slept in
like
it.
5 or 6 times. At least me, I bought the house before it was even built.
Well, I'd have
Yeah.
slept in that house, Tom,
Right.
if it was such a dream house before they put the roof on.
That's right.
Well, Jack, is another point that I'd like to bring up. For instance, when these television men, white television men, interview these colored people, I would just like just once, for this colored man to ask this man where he lives. Where do you live? Do you live with colored people? Or do you have a nice home, 3 acres of ground with a house right in the middle, and you're one of these saying integrate?
That's quite right.
Well,
And that's what's burning everybody up. I mean, with these row homes, you're living next door to each other. And, I mean, contact every day.
You share a
It's
common
common
wall, common
wall.
steps. You have nothing but perhaps 6 inches of masonry between you and your neighbors. If they get a little loud, you're aware of it. There's no doubt about this. Everybody has to be more concerned with their neighbors than we would otherwise.
The whole truth in a nutshell, the 90% of the whites that live in Fallcroft have ran away from the colored people. I ran away from the colored people. I will not deny this. My wife, when I lived in Philadelphia, I had, my family would try to go to the store. My wife, for instance, would try to go to the store, 8 o'clock at night. She couldn't make it. It was because the 80% of the colored people had moved into West Philadelphia. And I had to run. I have to protect my family. It's no sense. I tried. I had a colored fella living next door to me. An ace. This man was better than any white man that I know. He was an ace. And he told me, I hate to use this word, nigger, but he told me, the nigger riffraff is moving in, Eric, and I'm gonna move out. I have to move out of this town myself. And for instance, right down here, we have a beautiful colored settlement. Beautiful. These people have come to our stores. I work with colored people. They're wonderful. I think they're great. I mean, the people working for me. But I can't see them living on my doorstep because they have proved nothing to me.
Let's take the Baker family, for example. He moved into our area on the 29th day of August. This man, it was advertised on WIP in Philadelphia. This man went to Florida. His wife returned to work. This is the same damn kind of irresponsibility that we're talking about. His wife was working. He was in Florida. Where was the daughter? The daughter has been in Sellersville, Pennsylvania, with the mother-in-law. Now, this is the same kind of thing that we're talking about. Irresponsibility. My children are home. My children haven't been farmed out since I've been married. Have yours? This is a normal deal. A girl integrated a university. What'd she do? She married a white fella from Boston, or from Massachusetts. Her father thought it was a disgrace. Why did he think it was a disgrace? This man possibly could have been paying lip service to integration. Now, it's just this simple. Now, we've had do-good ministers that have donated money to these people. Who else has donated money? Every taxpayer in the United States of America has donated money to these people. For what? Why does the American person try to buy his conscience with $1?
They just don't want to face it, Joe. The white people just don't want to face this thing, and they're just backing down on everything that the NAACP.
Well, I don't think they don't want to face it. I think every white man would like to do his share, but they're afraid. Now, this NAACP is
national movement.
Not that. It's a powerful organization.
It's a communistic
We've had men from this village fired from their jobs because their pictures were in the paper.
This is true.
Now, what kind of rights does the white man have when this has to happen? They're all afraid to move.
It gets back to what I said again. This is a organized minority group that's taking charge of an unorganized majority group. They vote in a block, which is what we have to do. We have to vote in a block. We always fight when our backs are against the wall. This is the same with a lot of animals, which we're all animals.
Joe.
But some of us are cannibals.
But we
Let's not sell this short.
But we can't fight, Joe, because this is one country. I mean, this is what the Communist Party wants. They're going to destroy us within. And I'll tell you, Joe, we can't say fight. I mean, we've got to iron this thing out with our politicians.
I'm talking about
fighting with our politicians. Yeah, fighting our legislation, because this is one country, Joe.
I agree.
And we've got to get this thing ironed out amongst ourselves. We need no other country to iron this thing out. This has got to be ironed out by our politicians and straight through. I mean, level. No backbiting, and level this thing out to the people. Tell this NAACP what's going to happen. Come out truthfully and tell what 90% of the white people want them to know, Joe, because of the colored man at work. We smile, we laugh, but look what happened here in Fallcroft. The other side of the face was turned. His face was slapped. It could have been the same man that you work with or I work with. It could have been true. I mean, we have to level this thing, and we don't want to live with him. That's all there is to it.
11, did he say Hatton Avenue or Hatfield Avenue?
The Pennsylvania State Police, still guarding the baker's house on Heather Road.
This is the type of a feeling that I felt that in the home that we would purchase, in whatever neighborhood, we would earn the neighborhood's respect. This is what I do, and this sort of my philosophy in life is in earning people's respect and being just treated as an individual and not trying to be stereotyped with any type of a group or race or creed. And, well, let's say I feel as though as far as pigmentation, that's about the only difference that we majorly have. I don't feel as though, let's say, with the education that you receive, that there should be any other differences. And every summer, let's say the Caucasians, they try to go and get themselves tanned and try to match you up with that. So I don't feel as though there should be that many differences or such a cruel type of a feeling.
How do you think this is going to affect your child?
She wasn't here during the first week that we were here, and I'd say as far as the type of a feeling that's going on, I don't feel as though directly she would be aware of. Maybe in a year or so she would, but right now I don't feel, unless someone actually told her. She knows no prejudice at all, and she'll say hello to anyone.
Has she said hello to any of the residents in Fallcroft?
I'm sure she has. She went outside, I guess it was the same day that she came here, and the neighbors next door had put up a wrought iron rail at the top, but they put it off just enough off center that it meant sort of taboo that we weren't supposed to touch it. And so, of course, she not knowing that she went down and touched it, and some neighbor hollered, "Get that baby's hand off the rail." So with that, I just told her not to touch it, but I'm sure she'll touch it again until we put up a railing beside it so that she doesn't come in contact with that one. But this is what I mean. Children actually don't know this type of a thing. It has to be instilled upon them.
In New York, Chicago, St. Louis, and in suburban Fallcroft, Pennsylvania, we've seen how some white Americans in the North responded when confronted with Negro Americans demanding freedom now. We've seen white opposition increase as the Negro came closer and closer, until in Fallcroft, Pennsylvania, the strongest fears, integrated housing and intermarriage, erupted into violence. When a lack of understanding and emotion take over, as they did in Fallcroft, how are these real feelings to be dealt with? Perhaps the rioting on that Fallcroft street could have been avoided if some organization, apart from the civil rights groups, had helped the people of Fallcroft overcome their fears. The major civil rights groups have sought mainly to desegregate, to open doors to Negroes that once were open only to whites. As those doors began to open, the hope was that new contacts between Negroes and whites would mean improved white attitudes. And in many cases, new contacts have helped the white man look at the Negro man in a new and kinder light. There are places where real integration is proceeding peacefully. But as long as there are whites who respond with bitterness and even violence, the white man's emotions cannot be ignored. Following a summer of growing white resistance in the North, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. has recognized this. Talking about the Northern white, he said recently, "We can never have meaningful integration until these prejudices are recognized and discarded." Obviously, a major effort by both races is needed to see that these prejudices are recognized and discarded. The American Negro is now making an unprecedented effort to gain his freedom and the respect of whites. The American white is going to have to make an equal effort to prepare for the day when he is confronted. Most white Americans have not yet been confronted by the Negro who will not go away. The schools, churches, the government agencies, the communications media, all have a responsibility to help the white man accept his new relationship with his fellow Negro citizen. But ultimately, whether or not the white man receives the help he needs, it will be the truly personal decisions that count. And so every white American now needs to ask himself, what will my answer be when I am confronted?